Welcome to the Three Tomatoes Virtual Renewal Summit. This is our fourth summit, but the first virtual one. The event is co-hosted by Ann Akers and Cheryl Benton. You'll be inspired, informed, and motivated by our fabulous lineup of speakers and panelists. Here's to thriving in midlife and beyond. The Wellness, Travel, and Spa Trends panel is moderated by Sallie Fraenkel, founder and president of Mind, Body, Spirit Network, a company that brings together like-minded individuals through events and travel. Our panelists are from three fabulous spa resorts: Proper Hospitality, Mohonk Mountain House, and Canyon Ranch.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Renewal Summit panel. I'm so excited. You can see how excited all of us are that today we're going to be talking about wellness, travel, and spa trends. And I would like to ask our fabulous panelists to introduce themselves. And why don't we start with you, Nina Smiley?
Thank you, Sally. Delighted to be here. Nina Smiley, Director of Mindfulness Programming at Mohonk Mountain House, Hudson Valley, New York. And we are 150 plus years old property, family owned and operated in the Hudson Valley of New York State.
Thank you. And why don't we go to you now, Molly Anderson?
Welcome. So Molly Anderson, Vice President of Experience Development and Programming for Canyon Ranch. And I used to think we were, we'd been around for 40 years, but after you, Nina, that's feels pretty young. So 40 years in the wellness business, starting here in Tucson. We also have our wellness resort in Lenox, Massachusetts, our brand new wellness retreat in Woodside, California, and the largest day spa in the world based at the Venetian Palazzo in Las Vegas.
Sounds good. Thank you, Molly. And Cat Lloyd, tell us about you.
Thank you. So happy to be here today. I'm Cat Lloyd. I'm the Global Director of Luxury Travel Sales for Proper Hotels. So definitely compared to you both, we are the newer kids on the block. We opened our first hotel in 2016 in San Francisco and also have properties in Santa Monica and in Austin.
Thank you, guys. I cannot tell you how thrilled I am to have the three of you with me. And I think that anybody who knows me knows how much I love wellness travel. So I can honestly sit here and say that I am missing traveling, as I'm sure all of you are. But we are going to do a little fantasizing here today, and a little dreaming, and a little planning. And I'd like to start with a question for all three of you. So Kat, since I can see you first, why don't you tell me, what are three things that differentiate Proper Hotels from other wellness resorts?
That's a really good question. And I think, first of all, the most obvious one is that we're not resorts. We're not in those beautiful resort environments. We're very much urban resorts. So Santa Monica in California, San Francisco in Northern California, and then Austin, Texas, might not necessarily be the first places you think about when it comes to having a wellness retreat. These are busy, hectic city destinations. However, there's no reason why you can't be in that city center environment and still have an incredibly mindful wellness experience. Secondly, I think that our whole environment is very much one of luxury, but one of definite kind of accessibility. These aren't hotels with white glove butler services and surnames. It's a very informal, welcoming environment. It's very casual. And thirdly, I think everything about the Proper Hotels and the wellness experience you get when you come to our products is that it's very much a lifestyle that you can take away with you, down from the bathrobes and the interior design, right through to the products and the programming of the spa and wellness. Everything is designed to be a continuation of your lifestyle at home when you come to stay in the hotels. And secondly, and vice versa, when you leave the hotels, you can take that experience back with you.
Wow. Thank you. That's wonderful. Molly, tell us three things that differentiate Canyon Ranch from other destination spas or wellness properties.
Absolutely. So I'll take our two wellness resorts, the Lenox and Tucson locations. And I think what really separates them is this holistic approach or integrative approach to well-being. We have medical facilities in both of them. besides having these fantastic spa and wellness experiences that would include outdoor sports, healthy eating, nutritionists, etc. So I think that's first and foremost. I think when you look at the fact that we are absolutely science-based in all of our medical approaches and all of our treatments that we offer and provide, and very innovative in that area. But I think the biggest differential is just this experience that we guide you and really custom design your agenda for you to meet your current intentions. And this hand holding that occurs. We've always said that it's our guests, our employees rather, that are the best, our staff that really make it. And that's what people remember.
Wow. Sounds good. And Nina Smiley, what are 3 things that differentiate Mohonk from other wellness resorts?
Mohonk is surrounded by 40,000 acres of forest, and we have 85 miles of hiking accessible from our doorstep. So there's a lot of nature, and we've been offering recreation and renewal of body, mind, and spirit in a beautiful natural setting for over 150 years, as I said. And there's a sense of timelessness. I think the third aspect is there's a sense of timelessness, a sense of continuity. Mohonk is a touchstone for many, many people. When they come back year after year, they'll say, thank goodness you haven't changed. And we'll smile to ourselves because we have. We've changed the details and continue to be the same, only better. We have a beautiful spa that is in a remarkable outdoor setting. And the family-owned and operated part, I think, is really also important. We're in the 4th and 5th generation now. And whenever somebody comes to the Mountain House, we and all of our staff say, welcome to our house. So that's a special experience.
Well, I do have to say that probably if we weren't in coronavirus times, I might have been able to say that I've been to a proper hotel. I have not, but I have had the good fortune to go to Canyon Ranch at both Lenox and Tucson, and of course to Mohonk, which is not that far from where I live. So it's very easy for me to visualize what Molly's talking about and what you're talking about, Nina. And Kat, I am just vicariously picturing what it's like in San Francisco and Santa Monica and Austin.
I promise.
Believe me, as soon as I can get on myself onto an airplane safely, I am so there. I want to just mention a little trivia point, and Nina, tell me if I'm correct. Is Mohonk now featured in a television show that's being aired?
Yes, on Amazon Prime, and it's called Upload. And Mohonk was used as their set for a little bit of heaven. So our guests have always said that, but to see it upload on Amazon Prime and see Mohonk as their setting is pretty amazing.
Well, I do have to say that my husband and I have been watching that, and of course, you know, I thought to myself when we saw this, you know, this opening scene, gosh, that looks awfully familiar. And it wasn't until I saw on Facebook somewhere that someone confirmed it was Mohonk. I thought that was a very cool little trivia point. So let me ask you now, Molly, tell us something that Canyon Ranch introduced before we kind of all went into lockdown. Since this was going to be a panel, or is a panel, I should say, about trends as well as wellness travel, I'd just love to know some of the new things that you have introduced, or perhaps that might even be a new property that you've recently introduced.
So I'll start with really, you know, specifically speaking to trends, something that we've addressed in both Tucson and Lenox, as well as our Las Vegas destination, is this concept of more pre-COVID, this communal idea of traveling together and these communal spaces.
Yeah.
So, you know, really creating some wonderful shared spaces in the spa for like duet treatments, whether it's your mother-daughter or you and your partner. So we've created these beautiful salons in both Tucson and Las Vegas right now. You can actually be with someone. Then the other wonderful thing is we've really, we know that a large percentage of guests come to us for fitness because we have such a variety that runs throughout the day. So we've really spent time changing and addressing things like modernizing and adding some things to our cycling studios. We've added a brand new rowing studio So a very competitive rowing studio inside of our Lenox property. And then also increased in Tucson our aerial and TRX offerings, because those are also on trend. So we're constantly, I like to say, rearranging and addressing what is most popular in the fitness area in those 3 properties. Now, when you talk about Woodside was really all about a very intimate communal experience. So we opened on middle of November in Woodside, California. It's only 38 rooms. And it's really, to what Nina said, it's an immersion in nature, because we are surrounded by the redwoods and we have our own hiking trails. But it's an ability for people to actually just immerse themselves in an environment. It's so close. It's such a drive distance out of Silicon Valley, out of San Francisco itself, where people say they feel like they're in the middle of nowhere. So it's an ability for them to disconnect in order to reconnect with themselves and really, unplug all those things that we say that literally happen there, where people have even surrendered their device and told us to put it in our safe and not give it to them until they leave, which is kind of funny. But sometimes people need that. They need that permission to disconnect. And I think that the property, this very different experience that you can have in Woodside, California, is really new to our brand.
Yeah, I was very excited to see that, because I know that was a property formerly called Skylanda that you all took over. And I really am looking forward to visiting there one of these days. I'm not going to say one of these years. I'm going to be a little more optimistic. Soon. I'm going to be very optimistic. Kat, I'm going to ask you a question about your cuisine. I'm very curious to know a little bit about, the cuisine approach that Proper takes and how, you see it fitting into wellness and relating to that. Yeah.
Absolutely. So what we do in all of our hotel destinations is we work with the key experts in food and beverage in those locations.
Mm-hmm.
Whilst we don't outsource it at all, we do partner with those true people that are working in those cities that have elevated the dining experience, run some of the most popular bars and restaurants in those locations, and bring that experience to the hotels. So what we also look at doing is making sure that the food is locally sourced. And a good example of that is at Santa Monica proper. One of the complimentary activities our guests can do, if you're a bit of an early riser and you like to get up, going with our executive chef to the farmer's market. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. It's a nice little trip. It's just a short walk from the hotel, and he'll take you around and help you select produce. He'll talk through why he uses what he uses and how he plans the menus throughout the whole week. And that really goes from everything to juices, to salads, the amazing fish and seafood that we have. And at our restaurant in Santa Monica proper, Onda, you'll see that beautiful blend of Oaxacan and Californian cuisine as well, in an open kitchen environment. So you can see everything being prepared. You see the fresh kelp being brought in. It really is a fantastic experience to watch them work and to look at the products they're using.
Wow.
That really kind of blends through all of the properties. You'll see lots of amazing juices. And then through to our spa experience, where we have the Ayurvedic spa, the only one in a hotel in California, where the actual programs last from 3 hours up to 28 days. As your therapist and your consultants will take you through a full Ayurvedic menu and programming that can be delivered to your home or during your stay at the hotel.
Wow, that's amazing. Goodness gracious. And Nina, for you, you have one of the most unusual titles. I don't know a lot of people who have the title Director of Mindfulness. I also happen to know that you have a PhD, not to embarrass you, but a PhD, I believe, in meditation. Is that correct? Psychology. Okay. Well, close. Tell me, as Director of Mindfulness, tell me how, you infuse mindfulness throughout the entire Mohonk experience.
Mindfulness is a form of meditation, and it's moment-to-moment awareness of what is in a gentle, non-judgmental way. And we like to say that Mohonk has been doing mindfulness for 150 years. We didn't call it mindfulness back then, but we've always been inviting our guests to go outdoors, be in nature. And one of the things that we're working with now, we started before COVID, and it's very much part of who we are, is forest bathing. And forest bathing is done fully clothed, but it is an immersion in nature. And I lead forest bathing walks where we do mindfulness in nature. We're outdoors together, moving slowly, breathing, feeling the sensations of movement, of sound, of sight, of touch, of smell. And one of the things about Mohonk is when you enter, we have a very long driveway. It's 2.5 miles when you come in the drive. And throughout that drive, the signs say, slowly and quietly, please. So from your very entry point, we're giving you the sense of whatever's been stressing you, let it go. Slowly and quietly, please, as you come in. And everything about Mohonk invites people to be outdoors, to enjoy the wonderful meals farm to table that we provide, and also to spend some time recentering and rebalancing. And many of the guests have balconies in their rooms, and we place rocking chairs on the balconies. So it's a favorite activity at Mohonk, along with hiking, is rocking in the rocking chair on your balcony.
Wow. And I do have to say, I have had the very good fortune of being led by Nina on one of those forest bathing walks. And what really struck me, Nina, that you didn't mention was the summer houses and the structures that exist at Mohonk. I'm not sure if they're all called summer houses. Could you just, is that what they're all called?
They're called summer houses, and they're little gazebos, they're structures. And each one was positioned to have a view. So it's an invitation to sit and reflect and recreate and renew. And we have 150 of them throughout the property. They're a form of rustic art because each one is different, built by our rustic carpenters. Very special.
Very special. But I think now we need to switch gears a little bit because we are in the coronavirus times. And I think on a lot of our minds is, when will we travel again? And of course, I know on my mind is, when will Canyon Ranch reopen again? So Molly, might you enlighten us on that?
Absolutely. So, it's been an interesting journey because we're very fortunate that we have Dr. Carmona, who was the 17th Surgeon General of the United States, and he's on our executive committee. He is very involved in national task force that are involved with public health. So first and foremost, Canyon Ranch is following all CDC guidelines, and we're deferring to the different states that we do business in. And I was sharing that our first place that will open is our spa club in Las Vegas. They hope to be open the beginning of June. And I was saying Vegas has really taken upon themselves to create some amazing opportunities to protect not only their own team members, but the guests. And so we are looking forward to opening them, the beginning of June.
So Molly, may I ask you because Canyon Ranch in Las Vegas is a day spa, and as you told us, the largest in the world.
Yes.
What could you give me a little bit of a picture of what that's going to look like? Are you going to be having massages and facials, and will the Aquavana circuit be open? Give us a little bit of a sense of what that spa experience might be like.
Absolutely. I mean, part of it is that we are in a hosted environment there. So the Venetian Palazzo is taking their own precautions of when guests are coming in, taking their temperature, but they're saying that even at McCarran, they'll be monitoring the temperature of arriving guests. Into the casino, they'll be monitoring temperatures. Our staff will all be have their PPE on, so they'll have their masks, and in many cases, they're going to have a plastic shield. But it looks like from the Nevada Massage Board and the Aesthetics Board that we will be able to provide facials. We'll be providing all of our body treatments. We will have our salon open for nails and hair. The protocols, obviously, of the social distancing is going to do two things. One, there will be fewer people in a space, as you said, for the Aquavana circuit. And also, locker assignments will be spaced out. A lot of onus is going to be put onto guests as well. I mean, we can only control spaces as best we can. We can control the number of people in a class. We can control the number of people in a gym. We can clean, but I think the number one thing is people are going to have to be responsible for themselves as well. by cleaning equipment after they use it, being courteous of the person next to them, being aware of their space. If anything, I still see it in the grocery store where some people are very aware and they pause and they wait, and others just walk right by you and open the case and grab whatever they need. So it's a really interesting journey. In our resorts, however, in Tucson and Lenox, we're taking the lead from our governments. And in Tucson, we do hope to open either right before or right after the 4th of July. And in those instances, we will be reopening our spa at the same time. There will be very few treatments that we don't feel can be delivered correctly or are more of an intimate. So we're still working through the protocols, for instance, in Tucson for a Watsu service. And those of you that have had a Watsu, it's kind of, I hate to say use the word intimate, but you are being held by the practitioner and they are very close to you. So it would be difficult for the person receiving the service to wear a mask. So if they are comfortable with protocols that we develop for the practitioner to be in a mask and they still want that service, we'll work around that. I think that as I said, the challenge is that we're following the guidelines recommended by IRSA when it comes to fitness facilities and, the number of people and the number of people in a class. And what people are going to realize no matter where they go is that there will be more time between classes, between massage, between facials, which means less availability in overall. So it's going to become very important that you really have patience, because if we have to properly clean and sanitize between services, that means in the course of a day, we can offer less. And in a class situation, utilizing some sort of way to sign up instead of basically just show up, so that we can make sure that any sort of apparatus that's used during a class, any accessory is ready for the next class. And again, that's where we're going to be asking our guests to help be part of that, to prepare, clean it for yourself, again, if need be.
Boy, it's all very curious and interesting to hear. I have a million questions, but I'm going to now go to Kat. And Kat, ask you, when are you reopening your properties? Obviously, because you are in cities and you are more of an urban wellness situation. I'm curious to know what your opening looks like and describe what you'll be doing around the spa.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously each city is different. We are taking that into consideration. So we were very lucky that we were able to open San Francisco and Austin proper. So both of those hotels are now open. Santa Monica is opening May 22nd. Obviously, we are ensuring that we're adhering to CDC guidelines. We are keeping that social distancing. Right now, our fitness centers are not operational. We do have Peloton bikes in our hotels, so we can put those in the guest room upon request. So for us, the spa currently is not open. We're not able to operate right now. We are making sure that we have lots of process in place, so when we get the green light from the cities, we can do that safely and responsibly. A lot of our treatments in the Ayurvedic line as well are able to be done touch-free. So if you think about our Panchakarma series you can have, and again, this can be a 3 to 28-day program, but a lot of this is centered around yoga, meditation, breathing, and sound baths. All of those things can be done at a safe social distance. There's still a lot of opportunity for guests to have a great wellness experience, but obviously keeping them very safe as well. I will continue to keep everybody updated as soon as we can open and expand those things. But obviously throughout the hotel itself, there's a lot of changes that have been put in place. We are reducing our occupancy massively, so we don't have 2 guest rooms next to each other that are occupied. We're leaving them empty for 24 hours before we clean them and turn them around for another guest. We've removed valet. It's all now going to be self-parking. So lots of different touch points and elements that we've had to adjust. But really, we want to make sure that people are comfortable when they're coming in. No contact room service, touch-free payment options, everything we can do to keep that service level at a 5-star placement, but still making sure people are feeling very comfortable and safe and taken care of.
Interesting. Boy, what times we're living in. And Nina, you're in New York, as am I. Obviously, everybody knows that New York State is a state that's going to reopen much more slowly than every place else, but there are some glimmers of hope. What's it looking like at Mohonk? What's your opening plan?
Well, right now we're closed and we're getting ready to reopen on June 15th. And as we reopen, the spa will not be opening with the resort on June 15th, probably in July. So we're doing the same thing everyone else is, and we're looking at the touch points. We're reducing touch points. Occupancy will be held at 50%. We're going to be doing our dining service differently. The same wonderful farm-to-table food, but a grab and go so that you can eat it on your balcony in your own room. You can eat at a picnic table overlooking the lake. And
no dining in the dining room?
Correct. You have to because we want social distance. We need to maintain that. So we're tweaking things as they need to be tweaked. And we're also recognizing, for example, in the summer, we'll be doing yoga hikes. We'll be taking people outdoors for yoga. We have this wonderful setting. Let's use that more. So it's really wellness without walls.
Yes.
We work on it as much as we possibly can. And that's becoming ever more important with what we're going through.
When do you envision actually doing massage and facials? Do you think in July you'll be doing that?
We're hoping to do that. We're looking at the protocols. We're looking at following the guidelines of New York State and seeing what directives are coming down from them. And looking forward this summer to having the spa open again. The pool is going to open in June when the resort opens.
And Molly, when you say at the spa at Canyon Ranch in Tucson and Lenox that they'll be having on their PPE, or in Las Vegas when they do facials and massage, you mentioned gloves and you mentioned, you mentioned masks and face shields. Will those practitioners have to use gloves to deliver facials and massages, or can they use their hands?
That I honestly am not sure about. However, one thing that we've been speaking about is the idea of choice from the person receiving the service, that, the provider has to feel safe also and not compromised. But I'll go to, for instance, a manicure. So you'll have a choice of sitting in where there is a large full plexiglass between you and the provider versus a provider just wearing the face shield mask. But we also realize that, I'll say Thai massage. So Thai massage has come up because your clothing is coming into contact. So what is the protocol there? Does the practitioner have to change every time they give another service? One of my physicians stopped by today and said, really, what Harvard just said this morning was that washing your hands 10 times a day. So it's this personal concept of personal hygiene. And sometimes I believe gloves everywhere give us a false sense of cleanliness. Because people wear gloves, the only thing they're doing is protecting their skin from picking anything up, but they're still transferring everything around. So gloves might not be the answer. We're learning.
Yes, that we are. So I'm just curious, how are bookings looking? Nina, do you have any bookings now that you know you're reopening June 15th, or shall we start spreading the word?
We do have bookings, and there are people in the city and elsewhere who are just really ready to get indoors. So that's even more important. There's what we're perceiving as pent-up demand, and people understand that the hygiene is exceptionally important at this moment in time to us. And there's a sense of trust, I think, for all of our properties that we are going to be doing this in exemplary manners.
Oh, I don't doubt that each one of you all, the properties that you work with, these hotels, these destination spas, these resorts will do among the best job of anyone in the world. I mean, I personally feel that, and I personally would go to any place that, that you all are talking about, but maybe that's just me. Call me crazy. Kat, how are your bookings looking?
Yes, very similar story, that pent-up demand. People want to get out, and I think we do have the benefit as well of being very easy drive destinations. And I think whilst people still have a little bit of nervousness about flying, going through airports, being on that plane, we're in destinations where we do have a lot of accessibility. So people come and sit in the car, drive for a couple of hours, and come and see us and spend weekends looking at some different walls.
Yes, I really do think that. I think that, like Nina said, being not that far from New York City, I mean, for anybody who knows what it's like in New York City, I think any place outside of New York City would, but especially in a place in nature, I think for you guys being in the city, but giving people an alternative.
Yeah.
In Molly's case, I mean, you guys are in Tucson, you're in Lenox, which is also not that far from New York City or Boston. Las Vegas, I guess, is its own, you know, I don't know. Is Las Vegas, Molly, looking at local business? Is that what they think is going to fuel this? Or are they looking at people flying in? Tell us about what you're seeing there.
You know, in Vegas, it's going to be a different place, and it's going to be interesting because obviously Vegas, which is driven a lot by large hotels that have a lot of convention and meeting space, you don't have that element. You're not going to have that element for quite a while. So Vegas is going to be very interesting. In the essence that they want to open. And I think that, you know, you talk about drive market, but LA is a drive market to Las Vegas. Phoenix, which Phoenix reopened, and I was listening on the news, their drive market. In this idea of wanting to get away, that might become a very affordable, easy commute. And then Vegas has always catered to the high rollers. So think about people that want to gamble, right? And come private jets and all that. So they land more private jets anywhere in Vegas. But you know, you all talked about drive market and bookings on I can say that we're still receiving a lot of phone calls of people that want to know when we're going to open. So that pent up and that desire and need to travel is definitely prevalent.
I couldn't agree more. So I have to ask this question. Kat, when do you think you'll travel again? And where do you think you'll go? And then I have a follow-up to that.
My goodness, as soon as I can.
No, I want a date. Is that going to be, so your hotels are open. Can't you travel there?
Right now, not at the moment, but, you know, we're obviously reviewing things all the time. You know, I'm very eager to get back onto the properties and spend time with the teams and really kind of soak up that atmosphere of just being there. But, you know, in terms of travel, I think obviously this is going to be a huge adjustment. A lot of things are going to change. But the travel industry is the most resilient in the world, I think. You know, we've been through so many tough times. And I don't see us ever getting to a point where people aren't going to travel. I think
no, I couldn't agree. But I mean, but from a personal level, not with our work hats on. From a personal level, when do you think you'll travel and where do you think you'll go?
I'm very eager to do, as we were saying, the drive. You know, I would love to go and spend a day at the spa in Vegas. You know,
oh, you're going to go to Canyon Ranch, huh? In Las Vegas?
Ranch. I need it after this. You know, I'd love to go to Palm Springs. I'm looking forward to getting back to Mexico.
Oh,
yeah, wow. You know, it's the longest I think I've ever not traveled for.
Wow. Now, Nina, I know, Nina, the summer season is critical for you all, and it's a beautiful time at Mohonk. So I'm guessing you may not be traveling this summer, but I'm curious to know when you think you might travel again from personal, you know, on a personal level, and where you might go.
Well, I love to hike. So whether it's outdoors at Mohonk or outdoors elsewhere, I think being here through the summer is going to be important. And then I have a vision called fall foliage in Vermont.
Oh, nice.
It's beautiful at Mohonk, and I love to also see it in Vermont. So I think I'm going to bookend the foliage season and spend part of it at Mohonk and part in Vermont.
And that sounds lovely and accessible. So Molly, might you be the one who's going to be jumping on an airplane sometime soon?
Well, my friend is thinking of renting a home in Italy for a month. And I said, I may come visit you and work from there. That would be my ambitious dream, and something I may take up the opportunity to do. But if not, I will definitely be on a plane headed to the East Coast because I had a sister reunion that was scheduled for the end of April. So I will be heading east to see my 3 sisters.
And when is that happening?
Not until they give us the green light, literally. I mean, really, I'm depending on Massachusetts because one of my sisters lives there on Martha's Vineyard. So that's a great place to go in the summer.
Nice.
sister in Maine. So, and you talked about Vermont. We've often gone to either rented a cottage in Maine or even done something in Vermont. So
Wow.
somewhere on that eastern seaboard for sure.
Yeah, it is certainly fun to be with you guys and talk about travel. And I think we're just about to run out of time. So I'd like to ask each one of you to leave us with one last thought. It can be anything that you'd like to leave us with. And how about you, Molly? What would you like to send us off with?
Well, I like to say that I think this time has made us all very aware of our own health and our own vulnerabilities, and maybe a commitment to building our own resilience arsenal, is like I like to say. So look at yourself, look at how you live your lifestyle, and learn to take better care of yourself if you haven't already.
Thank you for that. Kat, any last words?
Yeah, I think for me, it's, we always learn things from these kind of experiences. And for me, I've definitely learned a lot more about slowing down, being in the moment a little more, and being more mindful as well. And I think that's something that will be interesting. And as we kind of translate back into moving and our busy lives and traveling, just being more mindful about things.
Lovely. And that's a perfect segue to Nina Smiley and what you'd like to leave us with.
Yes. Thank you for doing such a great setup, Kat. Mindfulness. And I think that wellness, which has tended to be a focus on physical wellness, is transitioning into well-being, which is body, mind, and spirit. And I think especially after going through COVID, people are understanding how important it is to work with body, mind, and spirit. And mindfulness is very much part of that, because mindfulness goes with you wherever you are. It's only a breath away. So combining mindfulness with nature, I think, is something people can do at home. You don't have to be at a resort to do that. And I think the more that we realize we can take a breath wherever we are and step outdoors, that's about resilience also.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank the three of you. This has been such a joy and pleasure to talk about wellness, travel, and spa trends. And I truly look forward to getting together in person and doing this with a whole group of people in a safe social distance. And I just wish you all very well. And thank you again.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Sally.
Thank you.